Welcome back to Whitt Acres. Today we're going to try and get a quick project in before we run out of light. We have a tree to transplant, we have a pumpkin patch to make. We're getting a stretch of pretty nice fall days right now, and we are trying to make the most of it. We're actually doing a little bit of work on the pond expansion project, trying to keep the water flowing where we want it. We don't want to make a mess out there. And the water was starting to sit right where we want to put the dam. And we really don't want wet soil where we're going to be putting the dam, because that's going to make it hard to compact it. So my dad's in the background now grading the edge of the pond there so it slopes into the middle of the pond. So all the water accumulates in the middle and tries to keep the edge of it dry. But we're recording that and making a video for my homestead channel, so make sure to subscribe to both channels to get everything coming out here from Whitt Acres. But while it's dry out here and before we get the next rain, we want to make a little bit more progress, do all the backhoe work that we need to do in the vegetable garden. And we do have to get all the raised beds cleaned out here and put away for winter, but I did get the tarp on the pumpkin patch. Since we're getting these sunny, dry days, I want to try and keep the moisture on that compost. And we still have some more wood chips down here I want to get spread on the pathways, get that finished off around the herb garden there that we put in and out to the entrance. But as we've been doing the pond expansion over here, we've been collecting the topsoil. And we have a lot of topsoil already staged here in the vegetable garden. And we didn't spread it out yet because I had to get in here. In last video, we got the pumpkin patch all spread out. We have the squash mound pretty much done and ready for spring. And the last thing we want to do here with the backhoe in the vegetable garden before winter comes is spread this topsoil out across the grassy area, and this whole area is going to become a new pumpkin patch. And the pumpkin is going to love it with thick topsoil all spread out here nice and fluffy. But before we can spread out this topsoil, there's one last thing we need to do in here, and that is to move the autumn blaze red maple tree. This little beautiful tree here needs to come out. We have another autumn blaze red maple right beside it that actually has a nice trunk and a nice structure to the top of the tree. This smaller one actually got a buck rub on it, and I didn't know if it was even going to come back, but it came back as a multi-trunk tree. So we have at least 3 main trunks, maybe 4 or 5 main trunks down here. And the tree came back strong, so I want to keep it, but we can't keep it here. So we need to find another location to transplant it to. And I did try and dig this one out with a shovel before, and it's just too rooted in there, so we're gonna have to use the backhoe. So after this red maple comes out, we can get all this topsoil spread across the grassy area here and get a new pumpkin patch made. He should be finishing up here soon. But we're gonna spread this topsoil out all the way over to the swamp white oak, and we're gonna create a pumpkin patch about 80 feet long by about 35 feet wide. And I'm planning on growing 3 giant pumpkins off the squash mound down into the grassy area, which hopefully won't be a grassy area. We want to keep this covered with nice soil. I'm not sure yet how we're going to keep the weeds from growing, if we're going to have to use fabric or Echo, come here. Zook, it went underneath there. He's hunting moles out here and I just saw one run. But I'm not quite sure how we're going to keep the weeds down for next year. I want to try and keep this clean. I want the pumpkin to be able to grow across here without getting snuffed out. And we did try this fabric last year, but it was only like 4 feet wide, and I had a lot of weeds coming through the seams. So I'm thinking this year I'd like to try and get some like 15-foot wide rolls. They have the bigger commercial grade rolls, and they are permeable, so they'll let the rain through. So I think if I can get those, at least 1 or 2 here, maybe even 3, we can get this whole area covered. Huh, pup, that would be nice. Not having to worry about the weeds. You try and find that mold bud. We already started putting the fabric down on the pathways over here underneath the wood chip, so hopefully that's going to help out a lot keeping the garden nice for next year. Even though Sedgwick keeps scratching it up and she's making a mess of it already. I don't have any dirt under here, but she still scratches all through it. She does prefer to come over here where the fabric isn't laid down yet though. Alright, I think he's ready. Alright, now before we dig up the maple to plant it, we have to dig a hole to plant it into. And the choice hole is going to be where this cherry tree comes out of. We have a volunteer cherry tree over here in the side garden, and I left it for a while now until I had something to replace it. I just wanted it to block the view of the neighbors' houses. I really don't like seeing other people's windows, so we kept it for now. But we're going to go ahead and dig this one out because the cherry isn't the best tree to have around here. They're a little messy and they don't have the thickest leaves, so they're not the best blockage. And they're a weak tree, so these branches are just going to continue to break. So we're going to go ahead and dig this one out. I don't think we're going to keep it. If I do keep it, it might end up going on the other side of the vegetable garden next to the maples. But the issue is it's right next to this Mount Pyrrhus. It's really close to it, and it has a decent sized trunk. Like, that's a good sized trunk. That's probably 4 inches, almost 5 inches in diameter. So the goal is to get the cherry tree out of here, rebury that Mount Pyrrhus, because we're definitely going to disrupt the root system. And then a little bit further away from that Mount Pyrrhus, we're going to be digging a hole so we can plant the autumn blaze red maple. And we actually have this holly tree trying to come back. This thing has been killed multiple times. This is actually my oak holly, and it is still alive. Something actually clipped it off already. I'm going to go ahead and pop this out of this hole because it's going to be in the way. But I'm going to try and keep this alive because I bought this tree like 4 or 5 years ago. Look at all these mushrooms. Look at all those little things. Gorgeous. But I'm going to go ahead and pop this out so we can try and save it. And my dad's going to bring over some soil in the bucket because we are going to have to rebury that Mount Pyrrhus. But we're going to try and do this before we run out of daylight tonight. Dig out the cherry, dig out the oak holly here, and then get a new tree transplanted. Let's see what we can get done. I think we're retransplanting it. So much for that light. Gotta close the barn. Excuse me, ducks. I gotta come in here and get some water. You got my pier all filthy. Look at this. You birds. You are messy down here. Look at these fish. I just need to get some water here for the tree. Some fresh pond water. Clearly it's fertilized, you birds. Huh, pup, you got your moo cow? Oh, I just dumped water on my sock in the crock. But this tree is looking pretty good over here with the bright red. I think I'm liking it. I think I like it. Let's get some water on the base here. Might need more than one bucket, but we gotta get her wet. There we go. Let it soak in. Now this is an autumn blaze red maple tree, and you can see the red blaze color that it gets here in the fall. And like I said, this one actually got buck rubbed and the main trunk died, but we had 4 new trunks actually sprout up. And this tree actually stays pretty small. I think it's only like 20 to 30 feet tall. So I think it'll fit in perfect over here. We actually have the Thuja Green Giants right behind it. I want to get something more in here actually behind it. We had that oak leaf holly that was supposed to be the evergreen centerpiece, but it wasn't doing very well. It got crushed by the maple tree that fell over. But the Thuja Green Giants are still doing pretty well. This one's about 7 feet tall. They actually get smaller as we go down because they're getting shade from this maple tree. So that one's the smallest. This one's about 7 feet tall. The next one's probably about 9, and then the other one's maybe 11. And then that Cleveland pear has taken off this year, just gorgeous, has a real columnar shape too. But not only the shape of this tree and the multi-trunks, but it's gonna be a beautiful color addition to the side garden here too. Pup. Dump the rest of this on here. We'll have to get some more too. Pup, we're not getting rain today or tomorrow. But let's go down to the vegetable garden and see how the new pumpkin patch is doing. My dad was trying to finish this up just before dark, so we'll see how even he got it. And then maybe get these raised beds cleaned up here next video. But look how big this patch is over here. It's gonna be amazing. We gotta spread it out a little bit more. He did leave a pile here for the raised beds in the spring, but that's a little bit too much. I want a little bit of topsoil for the raised beds, but mostly compost goes into there whenever I top them off. So there is still a little bit extra here at the front that we need to try and spread around the base of the mound there around the trees. But it is looking large. I'm gonna have to rake it away from the fence line there, and then in the spring I'm thinking I'm probably gonna have to go through everything and just till it up because he is packing it in as he drives around with the backhoe. So it's not quite as fluffy as I want it for growing giant pumpkins, but this will be a lot easier to fluff up with the tiller now that it's on top of all that virgin ground. Pup, look how big this area is we can grow pumpkins on. We actually stopped right before the gate here because the gate is already low and we want to be able to open the gate without crushing plants anyway. So we're going to be growing the pumpkins between the swamp white oak and the autumn blaze red maple that we still have here. We'll have one section here, one section right before the honey locust tree, and then right after the honey locust before the royal empress we'll have another pumpkin. So hopefully we can get 3 pumpkins to grow off that mound and stretch out into this main area. And I also have these over here I can make a walkway out of. We can put these up on some cinder blocks. And the plan would be to make a catwalk straight across the pumpkin patch here so I can check on everything without stepping on the soil every day. You want to keep the soil fluffy so the roots can just grow freely. But I actually think there's still a little bit more work to do down here with the backhoe. We want to try and finish all the heavy machinery work before the next rain. So I think I'm going to bring the backhoe down, just take a scoop of this and put it over there so I don't have to do that with a shovel and a wheelbarrow. I'll try and even out this thick spot a little bit more with the backhoe, but there is going to be some hand work I have to do with the rake. Pup, but we're also working on a project up in the barnyard that is going to take priority, so I have to get that done first. And if you want to see what's happening up there, you're going to have to subscribe to my other channel, Whitt Acres Homestead, and get everything coming out here from Whitt Acres. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my website, whittacresdesigns.com, for nature-inspired designs on apparel and more. Pup, I'm going to get some more water. All right, I'm going to get some more water for the tree, and then we'll see what we can do with that dirt. Ducks. Maybelle, Graybelle, everybody getting along down here? I think it might be time to move you up to the barn, introduce you to the flock. Ever since you birds got big, you're starting to make a big mess. Fish. Everybody's down at the bottom all still. It's cold today. They're trying to stay warm. Everybody just frozen. I don't blame you, fish. It's not too warm up here either. Get some water. Gotta try and keep this tree alive, Pup. It looks good over here. Coming in. I got a drink for you. Try and spread the water out so whenever it does rain, we actually get it to soak in. Hey now, keep it tight. Huh, Pop, I'm coming. Hey Sedgwig, you doing, Freebird? You're gonna have to go to the barn too. All right guys, it's been a little over a week and the weather has changed quite a bit, but we need to get this video wrapped up. Now I said I was gonna level this off with a rake and I still haven't got there yet. We ended up getting busy with other projects. And we did end up doing the big duck pond expansion project this weekend, so we had a dozer here to work with. And while the dozer was here, my dad was able to come in here and get this leveled off a lot better. I still have to get in there around the tree bases and get that leveled off by hand, but that's gonna be a lot less work now. And we're actually starting to get a little snow flurry today, but it is supposed to warm back up here later in the week. And honestly, it's not high on the priority list, but I still wanna come in here and get these raised beds cleaned out here before winter really sets in. Sedgwig has already been working hard down here helping out. Huh, girl? You cleaning the peppers off? Keeping you warm. But she's only one bird and she can only get so much done. We're actually going to be moving her back up to the barn here soon. Huh, Pop? So it's up to me and you. Now it's cold right now. We want to keep the pumpkin patch covered. But we're not going to have enough tarps to keep the whole patch covered. But it is going to be awesome to have all this extra space here next year to grow pumpkins. And my giant pumpkin is starting to show soft spots, so we really need to get that cut open. I don't know if the seeds are going to be worth saving, but we're going to check those out. And then we're going to take the pumpkin up to the barn and get it fed to the animals. We still have the pigs and the goats up there. Stay warm, Sedgwig. The snow is coming. Huh, Pop? Oh, the geyser. Gorgeous. Huh, ducks? That's going to be pumping all winter long. We don't shut the pond down for winter. And it usually gets some beautiful ice formations on it, so that's going to be fun to see. But that's going to be all for this one. If you want to keep following along with everything here at Whitt Acres, make sure to subscribe down below. Hit that like button before you leave, and you can see me and Echo on the next one. Thanks for watching. Good boy.